So our next speaker is the Dean of the Father Saturnino Urios University College of Law that also gave birth to the Orian Legal Assistance Program, or ULAP. She is an advocate of experiential learning. Let us give a warm welcome to Commissioner Josefe Sorrera-Ty, Chair of the LEAP Steering Committee, to give her keynote address entitled The RMLC and Model Syllabus Projects as Frameworks for Transformation. Let us give her a round of applause.
So, maayong buntag sa tanan. I would like to apologize that I was not physically present yesterday for the opening ceremonies and the sessions, but I was present virtually because of technology. I was able to watch the opening ceremony and also up to the session of Attorney Rain. And in the afternoon, I was also able to watch up to the session of Aaron. So that really technology allows us to be with the people that we love and to listen to things that we care for. And so yes, yesterday I was there in Siem Reap, Cambodia to listen to the legal educators in Asia and the Pacific, and also to share a little of our experience. Why did I go there? Because it is important for us to listen, because we are not an island, and we have to consider our brothers and sisters in the Asia Pacific region. And one thing that was highlighted there, I would like to share very briefly, is that legal education in the light and nature of the in the light of the nature and scale of the extraordinary disruptions in the world, just like COVID-19, is very important. We are faced with so much uncertainties, but one thing that is certain is that the scale of disruptions will be of an unprecedented magnitude and unevenly distributed across the globe. But amidst the uncertainties, there is hope because of the transformative power of legal education. For legal education is the cradle of our future lawyers. It is the cradle of law. That is why there is a need for us to leverage on this power and enhance it by diversifying teaching methodologies and the curricula of legal education. So to start my sharing today, let us watch a video that was lovingly prepared by the LEAPS team. Okay? Can we have the video now? all part of that journey. Now, just a reminder why I'm here, because I'm part of LEB, and by virtue of the Legal Education Reform Act, the LEB is tasked to prescribe the basic curricula. And so, because of that obligation given to us by the law, we have continued the journey. And it today, I'm going to present to you the product or the gift crafted by many hands and hearts who listen to the yearnings of the nation. The Revised Model Law Curriculum, or LEBMO number 24, is really the response, the response of the legal education community to a nation that is asking for transformation in society under the rule of law. And so, can we go? Okay. So this is the journey, although it was already seen in the slides, but I would like to highlight some of those very, very important milestones. LEBMO number 24, or the Revised Law Model Curriculum, is a culmination of a 10-year journey which started in 2012 during the first Pulse LEB Conference on Legal Education in Cebu, where law deans talked about recreating legal education for justice and development. That was Dean Merlin Magallona's sharing. And then Dean Candelaria talked about leaping into new areas of practice. And Dean Joan Largo was requesting for the alignment of legal education with practice. And other law deans shared their thoughts on legal education, which echoed what the country was asking of us. And so, this conversation in 2012 led to the creation of the Legal Education Board Committee on Revision of Law Curricula in 2015, chaired by Dean Joan S. Largo of the University of San Carlos. This committee gathered quantitative data to the support of our Pulse president then, Dean Nilo Divina, and qualitative data gathered to the support of the former UP Law Dean and now UP President Danilo Concepcion. The committee held focus group discussions in selected locations in Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. In addition, it conducted, with the technical assistance of the UP School of Statistics, a nationwide survey of lawyers to gather data to guide the committee in the revision of the law curricula. To enhance the output of the LEB Committee on Revision of the Law Curriculum, LEB partnered with the UP Law Center under former Dean Fedes Cordero-Tan for the conduct of an empirical study to consolidate existing studies and research and gather updated information on the context and state of legal education in the country. In 2019, the LEB and the UP Law Center began developing the framework for the revision of the basic law curriculum. On the same year, the Supreme Court held the National Legal Education Summit, with the basic law curriculum as one of the subjects tackled. In 2020, LEB convened the LEB Curriculum Revision Committee with Justice Arturo Brion as the first chairperson, followed by Commissioner Abelardo Domondon. The 2020 LEB Curriculum Revision Committee drafted and presented to the LEB Board in Bank the proposed RMLC, or that's the Revised Model Law Curriculum, during the first quarter of 2021. The consultations were held and the RMLC was finalized. Although the RMLC's implementation was scheduled for academic year 2022-2023, that's this year, there have been several law schools who opted for early adoption of the RMLC in school year 2021 and 2022. That journey, in the words of Assistant Vice President for Academic Affairs, Joan Largo, she said, it took a nation to revise the curriculum. From LEB starting the initiative of revision. Can we get that next slide, please? From LEB starting the initiative of revising the curriculum and from LEB starting the initiative of revision to the Philippine Association of Law Schools responding to the challenge, from the UP Law Center lending a ready hand to the Supreme Court organizing the Legal Education Summit, and the LEV finishing what it started with the creation of the Curriculum Revision Committee, this curriculum revision was a concerted effort of many heads, hearts, and hands. And I would like to highlight that the inputs to the RMLC did not just come from the heads and hearts and hands of members of the legal profession, but also from the farmers, fisher folks, indigenous peoples, to name a few of the non-lawyers who took part of the focus group discussion on the revision of the law curriculum facilitated by the UP Law Center. The RMLC envisions law graduates who are professionally competent, practice ready. I think this is not, okay, not the slide, okay. Practice ready, active and self-directed and lifelong learners. We are hoping with the RMLC to have responsible, highly ethical, honorable, socially mindful, and gender-sensitive, willing leaders and servants and thinkers and innovators in law. What an ambitious outcome that we want to see in our law students through the RMLC. Now, under the RMLC, next slide. Under the RMLC, the importance of the dean as an academic leader and a curriculum designer is brought to fore. The success of the school's graduates will be greatly determined by how the curriculum is designed with the RMLC as a minimum core. In this sense, it is the lookout of the school on how best to achieve their institutional learning outcomes. The consideration also includes what areas of law do their students have weak preparation or training in, or which strategies are ineffective, and thus requiring intervention such as the provision of electives or institutionally required courses or adjustments to pedagogy. Working with the curriculum design of the school, next slide. The instructor's role is vital in how learning outcomes are actually accomplished in a course. The selection of the statutory provisions, the choice of jurisprudence, the combination of teaching methods, and the scaffolding of learning inside the classroom must be carefully and deliberately planned in order to achieve the desired proficiency and effectuate the prioritization of topics in the relevant subject of law that reflect the amount of learning commensurate to the units assigned to the course. The RMLC also wishes to rationalize the teach everything approach that permeates the legal education system. The traditional banking model of education insists that the learner must be crammed in with as many topics as possible on a given period of time. This approach has long been discredited as counterproductive and incredibly harmful to learning, especially for our law students who are adult learners. While there is always a time for comprehensive and in-depth view of law subjects, this must not be the sole approach. The RMLC thus encourages a policy of genuine instructional design that requires academic managers to sit down and craft a course that prioritizes core concepts and employs appropriate teaching methods based on the targeted outcomes. Ultimately, the faculty is unburdened from the need for exhaustive discussion, which hopefully affords more opportunities for critical thinking, innovative teaching, and co-creation of knowledge in the law classroom. The student, meanwhile, is provided more ample space for self-reflection, absorption, and mental health and growth. All of this play out in the success of the learning activities in the class. Thus, on the basis of their academic freedoms, professors are envisioned to become effective guides to our adult learners. The RMLC was crafted under the following framework. Next slide. I think that was the slide earlier. Okay. Just don't change the slide anymore. Okay, so there are the framework of the RMLC can be described in three there are features of that framework. First, there must be a sensitivity to the kind of learners that we have in law school. A paradigm shift from teacher-centered to learner-centered can be seen in the pedagogical approaches stated in the RMLC. Sometimes we focus when we talk of the RMLC, you are so focused on the course offering. What are the courses that are stated there and the number of units? We forget that the RMLC also has a menu of pedagogical approaches and teaching methodologies. The RMLC is rooted in the context that the basic law program is a graduate level study. Law faculty and law students equally share the responsibility of achieving academic goals. This is premised on the concept that the law student is an adult learner, is self-directed, an independent and experiential learner, and a co-creator of knowledge. With this sensitivity, the RMLC provides recommendations as to innovative and diverse pedagogical approaches, teaching methodologies, and assessment philosophies. The result is a holistic approach to educating students by improving on traditional methods of teaching and learning that are more appropriate for higher learning and graduate studies. The next part of that framework is the academic freedom of the law schools, which I know you really hold dearly in your hearts. And the LEB also hold dearly this academic freedom of law schools. The academic freedom of law schools to design their curriculum is preserved subject to minimum course required. The law schools have the discretion to determine the schedule and sequence of course subjects to the observance of minimum prerequisite courses provided that completion of the law course is not less than 4 academic years, although maybe this needs revisiting in the future after the cycle of the RMLC, because we could hear voices from the field that maybe it's high time to think about innovating the number of years that we're studying. Maybe we can consider a 3-year law course. Well, that would be food for thought for all of us. The law schools have full discretion to create and provide electives and or institutional requirements based on their academic philosophies without prejudice to the academic rights of their law faculty and students. And the last feature of that framework is that the RMLC prepares the law student for the bar and practice. That's why Dean Jason's study is very important, because that study would guide us how to prepare our students for the bar and for the practice. Because when we do that, the RMLC ensures that the minimum course requirements include mandatory courses to qualify for the bar examinations. I know that there is also some anxieties among the law schools because we have folded certain subjects that are really bar subjects. But we are giving a challenge to the law school to think of ways of not being too bar-centric. Like, think of innovative ways wherein we could work within the RMLC and still are able to give our law students their dream, and that is to pass the bar examination. The inclusion in the RMLC of the clinical legal education program complies with the bar requirements as well as prepare our students for practice and ensures the fulfillment of the public service function of legal education. Maybe that is what differentiates our clinical legal education from other jurisdiction, because in other jurisdiction, it's really to prepare law students for practice. But we added another feature, and that we must ensure that the public service function of legal education will be in the hearts of our law students. That's why maybe you are asking, why is it that in our Rule 138A, we are not allowing our law students to go into private law firms for their CLEP, it is because we wanted them to have the spirit of service, to serve those who need the service the most, the marginalized. Although I've been speaking to Dean Jason a while ago, and it said maybe in the survey, it also said that there is also a request that we allow CLEP in law firms. We'll talk about that, provided that we don't take away the spirit, no, that very unique spirit of our CLEP program that we put in the hearts of the law students, that first and foremost, the law profession is a public service profession, and it is there to serve those at the margins. Okay, so let's go to the, because of that framework, we have these changes. We can go now to that slide there that has been there for a long time. So these are the changes, okay? I'll be very brief. The academic load has been reduced to give students room for reflective thinking, to address mental wellness, and in recognition of the academic freedom of schools to design additional courses. And schools and students are given maximum flexibility to design their curriculum of study based on their needs. Then, the mandated courses has also been rationalized and updated to consider the demands of law practice. The review courses are also there, but now the review courses must also be already integrative. I will talk about that later. Now, procedural law courses shall be taught beginning the first year. I know this is where the challenge is. No, how to teach CRIM Pro and CIV Pro in the first year. But you know why it was also placed there? Because we wanted to enhance the understanding of our law students of remedial law, to prepare them for clinical legal education. You know, we know that the law can never help if our students are not well versed with the remedies. And that is where CRIM Pro and CIV Pro play a great role. That is why we place in the first year, so that as early as first year, they are starting to enhance their knowledge of remedial law. Because, you know, our law will just be there in the books if we do not have the remedies. I know you're grappling with how to teach CRIM Pro in first year. And I am reminded by what Dean Swade said, let's innovate. We will be able to teach CRIM Pro in the first year. Yes, we will be able. Okay? Now, okay, let's go to the next. The entire curriculum is also designed to be implementable as a ladderized program. And we thank San Sebastian College for pushing us in this direction. Okay? Dean Ted has been giving us technical assistance on this, and I know that you have already received the proposed guidelines on the Master of Legal Studies. I hope you would study that guideline and give us the necessary input, because that is already a step towards making law, the Juris Doctor program, a ladderized program. And so by the second year, our law students, when they complete, they will have a Master of Legal Studies. Hope that would be soon. And I hope we can see that implemented by this school year 2023-2024. The curriculum also allows for specialization through academic tracking, subject to the school's discretion and such guideline as may be issued by the board. Finally, clinical legal education, as I've already said a while ago, has been fully integrated. And I hope that you are enjoying the clinical legal education program journey. I know that is also very challenging. Imagine all of you are faced with very, very heavy challenges. First, we are requesting you to teach CRIM Pro on first year. Next, we are requesting you to go into clinical legal education program that is really quite new to a lot of law schools. But I thank you for embracing these challenges, because as of December 6, we already have 118 law schools who have already integrated clinical legal education program in their law offerings. And we have 125, so meaning 7 more to go and everybody's already into CLEP. Okay? But the bigger challenge is really teaching remedial law in the first year. So we'll help each other on that. Okay? Now, I will just run through our syllabus. Okay? So on the first year, I've already talked about that. That's where you see we are recommending, if you can, try teaching SIB Pro and CREAM Pro on the first year. Okay? Next is that in the second year, you can start your CLEP. Okay? And on the third year, you can have your tracking here or your niche because you have so much room for electives. Okay? And on the fourth year, it's dedicated for review courses. And here, the LEB, through the RMLC, is requesting, it's not just the LEB, but everyone who was part of the crafting of the RMLC is requesting that in our review courses, we include integration to ensure that the prospective bar exam candidates are given important updates and coaching at their terminal year. Really, it's really bar review. It's really bar review. Our fourth year should really be already bar review with bar. I know that bar review is very different, right? There's there are strategy on how to answer the bar questions. We hope that this is already taught in our fourth year so that they'll already be ready when they graduate from law school to take the bar. And we know that our bar is already on September 2023. Really a short time. If you don't prepare your students now on their fourth year for the bar, and you just wait for a bar review after they graduate, and most of them will graduate on July, right? Then you only have August, only a month or so, no, or two to prepare for the bar. So we hope that you are already preparing, you have already integrated in your review courses, not just the substantive part of the bar exam, but also techniques and strategies on how to prepare for the bar exam. Now I'm ending. The RMLC is a process according to she's smiling, according to Dindeng. I'm quoting you again. So, yes, the RMLC is a process that will form our law students as servants of peace and justice. The RMLC is not perfect, but it is a step towards enhancing the transformative power of legal education. And let me end this talk of mine, sharing, with the words from Jillian Michaels. It's not about perfect, it's about effort. And when you bring that effort every single day, that's where transformation happens. That's when changes occurs. Salamat kaayo sa inyong pagpaminaw.